Welcome to my channel where we discuss everything politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election in Nigeria. But in this video, we're going to talk about the misery that outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari brought to Nigerians for 8 years so that Nigerians can learn lesson and say never again should we allow a leader that could bring such level of misery to Nigerians to occupy power and become president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because today being May 29th is an ideal day to actually look into this man's presidency and to show that what this man brought to Nigeria was nothing but misery and sadness throughout his regime. And we are going to go through it together with facts and figures. If you remember, President Muhammadu Buhari came to power on May 29, 2015. And before then, between 2014 and 2015, he had campaigned vigorously, energized by the media, local and international. And he based his campaign on three major pranks, meaning to restore security in Nigeria and to revive the economy and to fight corruption. These were the three strong pillars on which his campaign was anchored. And you will see from this analysis that he failed woefully in all three of them and more. Now, let us take them one after the other. The three pillars and more that under which he sought for Nigeria's presidency, and it was given to him, and what he did with it, based on his record and the records before him. You know that number one of the thing that brought him to power, why Nigerians voted for him, was because Nigeria at that time was having insecurity, especially in the northeast. Insecurity instigated by the Boko Haram. So Nigerians voted for him because they felt that former President Goodluck Jonathan, a civilian, or what some Nigerians can call a bloody civilian, was not handling the war or the insurgency well. That a general need to be brought in. And he presented himself as that general who will bring the insecurity down to its knees. He promised that in his first tenure, all the Chibok girls will be brought back. Of course, they never did. They were not all brought back. And he's leaving power today, May 29th. Invariably failing in that as in so many other promises he made. But let us take the insecurity first. He promised to deal with insecurity, but he did not deal with insecurity. Instead, insecurity got worse. Let's take, for example, the figures that we have. According to the Global Center for Responsibility to Protect, more than 35,000 people were killed, mostly in northern Nigeria, between 2009 and 2015, when Buhari took over. As he was leaving office on May 29, 2023, 8 years later, it has been estimated that over 63 Nigerians have been killed in the last 3 years of Buhari regime, in the last 8 years of Buhari regime. So factor in that figure. 35,000 was killed between 2009 and 2015. But between 2015 and 2023, when Buhari was in charge, over 63,000 Nigerians were killed. Now, according to data obtained by Nigeria Security Tracker, NST, a project of the Council on Foreign Relations African Program. This is an American data gathering institution that its own job is just keeping data of deaths in Nigeria as a result of violence. Okay, killings that were not as ordered by a court. Court cannot give orders, say, go and hang this man. You know that the person is dying on the orders of the court. But this Nigeria Security Tracker is set up by the US government, okay, to track deaths in Nigeria as a result of violence. And they found out that within the past 8 years of Buhari's regime, Nigeria lost 63,111 people who were killed under Buhari's supervision since May 29, 2015. According to the data by this organization, which has also been published by several Nigerian newspapers, you can go and check it out. The deaths were caused by terrorism, banditry, herders-farmers clashes, communal clashes, court clashes, and extrajudicial killing, among others. Okay, so his handling of insecurity was abysmal for somebody who is a general. It was so abysmal that insecurity that was restricted in the Northeast when he took over became nationwide, to the level that today Southeast is not at peace because insecurity has spread nationwide. For example, take note of this, what I'm telling you. Go and check the level of killings in Southeast between the time that Buhari took over and today. What was the level of killings in Southeast? There were no killings in Southeast. In terms of the scale we are witnessing now, killing of security people, killing of all kinds of things. They were not in existence when Buhari took over in 2015. But because of his poor management of our security, insecurity expanded from northeast to southeast. And some of the most outrageous things that he did was the ill-advised rendition of the leader of the banned indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, from Kenya to Nigeria. That alone instigated most of the insecurity you are seeing in the southeast. You brought him back for what purpose? From another country. And then since that day that he was brought back, you can go and track killings in southeast. It began to expand to exponential level once Nnamdi Kanu was announced to have been brought back by rendition to Nigeria. So that's another indication of how his mismanagement of security of Nigeria led to more killings in Nigeria. Before 2015, as I said earlier, Northeast was the epicenter of Boko Haram insurgency and killings. But as Buhari was leaving on May 29, 2023, insecurity has expanded to the southeast, to the southwest, but southeast much more. and then to the northwest, and to the north central, to the level that even his own state, Katsina State, has about 9 local governments that are under the control of bandits. Total control by bandits. Nobody there goes there without the permission of bandits. You look at north central Nigeria, from Nasarawa to Taraba, Taraba to Adamawa, Adamawa to southern Borno, to southern Kaduna, to Nasarawa, to Kogi, to Niger. All these places have become killing field for bandits. Things were not this bad in 2015 when he took over. The killers were not this widespread all over the country, killing people and not be held accountable. So he fell woefully in the area of security of Nigerians. So he brought a lot of miseries to many homes. A state like Benue, there were no IDPs, internally displaced persons, by the time Buhari took over. But as he was leaving on May 29th, over 2 million internally displaced persons are now existing in Benue. The same thing is applicable to Niger State. There were no IDPs in Niger in 2015. Today we have IDPs in Niger. We have IDPs in Nasarawa. We have IDPs all over the place that shouldn't have had IDPs if he had contained insecurity as he promised and as Nigerians expected by by giving him the authority. The insecurity has laid waste vast swath of land in Nigeria. People can no longer go to farm, even in northern Nigeria. In most part of northern Nigeria, people can't go to farm. Bandits determine who goes to farm and who doesn't. And people have to farm for bandits to be allowed to go to farm. And people even have to pay taxes to bandits. It's an unprecedented collapse of security under his watch. So nobody can wish these facts and figures away. These are the misery he brought to Nigerians. Kidnapping became a business venture under him, to the level that at least not less than 30 billion has Nigerians paid as ransom to free their loved ones in the past 8 years. It's an unprecedented situation that nobody had expected would happen to Nigeria's security. And now, kidnapping has become an industry. That is what he's leaving behind, a legacy that nobody knows how it will end. Because right now, the thing has grown and they have become so embodied that even family members are staging the kidnapping of their relations. So bad. And as he's living, there are many people that have been kidnapped in Kaduna State. Christians who are in worship centers and they were kidnapped. Nobody's talking about them, and Buhari is living today, May 29th. And those people are demanding that family members in southern Kaduna should buy motorbikes and several other things worth millions of naira, which these local farmers, local people in Kaduna, southern Kaduna, they could not afford it. They have been languishing in kidnappers' den for the past 3 weeks or thereabout. And that is how several Nigerians are kidnapped and held, many of them not reported in the media. So that's the kind of misery he brought to Nigerians for 8 years. Nigeria became a killing field. Such a sad story for Nigeria. And thank God it's ending today, May 29th. And we hope that never again should this kind of descent to barbarism in which Nigerians descended to, because there was nobody holding people who are doing all these things seriously accountable. Many farmers have been driven from their homes and their communities. Their ancestral home left desolate. And nobody knows when they will go back to those lands. Nobody knows. unless the incoming administration takes proactive measures to ensure that Nigerians are returned to their ancestral homes from the IDPs and other places where they are hiding, running away from bandits, insurgents, killers, and what have you. Now, that's for the what he left for Nigeria in terms of security. Buhari's security legacy is what I just itemized to you. And you can go and cross-check it. These are with facts and figures. All the things I tell you, you can go and cross-check them. Go and check the time, the killings in Southeast before Nnamdi Kanu was renditioned back to Nigeria. So that's a fact. Then another important thing that we need to note is that he said he was going to improve our economy, but things got worse under his administration. The economy became so bad, and we're going to look at the figures so that you will understand that I didn't make these things up. These are facts and figures. That there are some his image makers will try to hide from Nigerians, but they are realities. Of course, Nigerians are living witnesses to this. When Buhari took over in 2014, a year before Buhari took over, inflation rate in Nigeria was 8%. By the time Buhari took over in 2015, inflation rate has risen by 1%, 9%. But as Buhari is leaving office on May 29, as he was leaving office on May 29, inflation rose to 22%, double digits. Double digits. That is 22%. Buhari inherited single-digit inflation. He left with double-digit inflation. And this figure is from the National Bureau of Statistics. A bag of rice that was sold between 8,000 and 9,000 naira before Buhari became president. As he was leaving office, a bag of rice was going between 40,000 to 50,000, higher than the minimum wage. Higher than the minimum wage. That is the legacy that Nigerians cannot forget in a hurry. He brought so many miseries. It means that the price of rice under his regime was higher than the minimum wage. So if a civil servant or a salary earner is paid the minimum wage and he buys a bag of rice, there will be nothing left. He could not even buy a bag of rice. He cannot buy a bag of rice. That's how bad the economy was back then. Then look at the naira to the dollar. It was less than 200 naira to the dollar in 2015. But Buhari, as he's living now, a dollar is almost selling at 800 naira. That is his legacy. He brought so much misery to Nigerians. Look at the level of unemployment. Unemployment was about 8 to 9% in 2015 when Buhari took over. Unemployment now is about 33%. That's how bad things were under his administration. You look at the level of what social services. The tariffs they were increasing steadily under his regime without commensurate performance in the services that were provided by Nigerians. Look at the number of times tariffs were increased for electricity, and yet there were no power. after spending billions of dollars in the sector. So Nigerians passed through a lot. This country passed through a lot under President Muhammadu Buhari. That fact cannot be denied. Nobody can deny that fact. It's the reality. Nigerians passed through hell to be able to maintain their family, to be able to keep their family. Because the salary that was paid was eroded by inflation and mismanagement of the economy by President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, we will get into this economy as we go on because there are some that I have forgotten that will come up in the process of looking at other issues. Now, let us look at the issue of corruption. Buhari came to power to fight corruption, that he will fight corruption. And many Nigerians heard him. They believe that he will fight corruption. And he made corruption one of the fulcrums of his administration. But the reality is different from what Nigerians expected. In fact, Nigeria became more corrupt under his regime based on data from Transparency International. Transparency International record is very clear. So nobody can accuse anybody of making it up. Transparency International recorded the worst corruption perception index in Nigeria since 2015 under President Muhammadu Buhari. So nobody can come and claim that Buhari fought corruption. For example, in 2020 corruption index, Nigeria scored 25 out of 100 points, with 0 signifying the worst performing countries and 100 the best ranked. It also dropped to 149 out of the 180 countries surveyed, making it the second most corrupt country in West Africa under President Muhammadu Buhari. These are records. It's not something that people bandy about. Buhari is anti-corruption champion. It's Africa's anti-corruption champion. No, it's not true. Look at the data from Transparency International. You failed woefully. Corruption became worse. And you will see some examples that we will cite here. Now, the 2020 rating is 1 point below that of 2019, when the country scored 26 points only, and 2 points below its ranking in 2018 and 2017, when it got 27 points. These are the unbiased verdict of Buhari's so-called anti-corruption war or anti-corruption campaign, as recorded by Transparency International. Transparency International has no reason to lie about Buhari. They are not a political organization. They are an organization that is committed to reading the word of corruption. And they carry out surveys annually looking at the perception of corruption in all sectors, in all parts of the world, and making their verdict public. And they publish. You can go online to check their series of publications of corruption perception around the world for years now. So they can't come out to single Buhari to come and say that Buhari's government was corrupt when actually it was not corrupt. They have no business doing that. The records are from them and they know what they are doing. Then another thing that Buhari brought, which the incoming administration is going to inherit, is that he made nepotism a state policy. There was a time that all the service chiefs were from a particular part of the country and from a particular religion, which was utterly in violation of the constitutional provision that no religion or ethnic group shall be seen to dominate the governance of Nigeria. But this was disregarded, and this created a kind of problem in the country. People were voicing this thing out, but they couldn't do nothing. They were helpless because he stood his ground. That those are the people that he can put in the position. And as he's leaving office today, May 29, check out all the paramilitary heads. They were all from a particular region and from a particular section of the country. From NSCDC, Custom and Immigration, Fire Service, prisons, DSS, NIA, what have you. They are all headed by people from a particular religion and a particular part of the country. That is the legacy of Buhari. And people cannot come and whitewash it. These are the realities. You can go and check the records. These paramilitary organizations and security agencies that I mentioned, go and check, including the police. I forgot the police. They are all from the same geographic region, the same religious stock and everything else. That is the divisive Nigeria, a highly divided Nigeria that the incoming administration is inheriting today. To the level that many people feel alienated. Even many people who are from outside those preferred zones and religion feel marginalized, that they could not be able to meet their professional attainment because of where they were, the religion they profess, because of the ethnicity they were born, or the part of the country they were born, which removed them from attaining certain heights. Because Buhari didn't give a damn. The country became more divided than ever before. In terms of election, Buhari conducted the worst election in Nigeria's history. The 2023 general election was the worst in Nigeria's history. We thought that the worst was that of 2007, which even the beneficiary of that election, President Muhammadu Buhari, acknowledged that the election was rigged and set up the Waste Committee to find solution to this. Buhari himself confessed severally that he was cheated in previous elections. Of course, I have my doubt about his claim that he won election and he was cheated, because between 2003 and 2011, that he was contesting for president and didn't win. I found it difficult to see how Buhari could have won that election. But he went to Supreme Court all the same, claiming that his election was rigged. But it was in 2015 when he eventually won. He said that thank God for technology, that technology saved him. But when he was leaving and conducted his election was so shambolic that even technology, which helped him, failed. He didn't do anything when Beavers allegedly fell. But we know that result indicated that it didn't fail. It was men that failed it. Men that Buhari put in charge that failed Beavers. So that the presidential election result was not transmitted to the INEC on real time, that as they were transmitting the senatorial election and the House of Representative election that were held the same day. And Buhari did nothing about it. Instead, he was beating his chest that votes count now in Nigeria because of this shambolic election. That is how he lived a lot of misery, left Nigeria misery. Many Nigerians are still to recover from the misery they passed through to participate in the election. And they are still passing through trauma. That's why many Nigerians, even as a new administration is being sworn in today, many Nigerians are not excited. They are not happy. They are not jubilant. They are almost in a mourning state. That's the state that they are in. And that's for the fact. That's a fact. The records are there. The records are there. Look at how people are retabulating the results with which they declared as for Bola Tinubu the president-elect. And the BBC recently this day found that peterobi won Rivers State, and there are strong indications that he won Benue State, peterobi of Labour Party. And even as I'm talking to you, as he's leaving office today, the election he was hailing that votes count, INEC has not the courage of his own conviction to upload all the results that they use in declaring as Bola the president. They don't have the courage of their own conviction to upload everything to the INEC IRP. That's the legacy of Buhari. And these are facts. And look at the fiasco in his change of the currency. Just to change the color of Naira, Nigerians passed through hell. He put Nigeria through hell, pretending that he was doing it because he wanted to curb election rigging. But all that was a total waste. Nigerians suffered for nothing. Many people died because they couldn't get cash to pay for hospital bills. Several families are still in mourning because of their loved ones that died as a result of the cashless policy that was enforced throughout the whole country. And many Nigerians suffered a lot and died while having money in the bank, but they couldn't get it out to pay for their hospital bill, to buy drugs. All those deaths are some of the legacies of President Muhammadu Buhari as he's living office today. And nobody can claim that this is not so, because there is facts. You can go and Google it and check out how Nigerians were dying because they didn't have cash to pay hospital bill. And hospitals were discharging Nigerians from their hospital because they don't have cash to pay. And the paying system totally collapsed. That's the legacy he's going with. Now, the issue of corruption. In 2020, the Independent Corrupt Practices uh, Independent Corrupt Practices Commission (ICPC) traced 2.67 billion naira meant to be funds for federal government school feeding program. Nobody was held accountable because those involved were sacred cows. Nothing was done to them. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development claimed that he spent 600 billion on feeding school children during the COVID. Nigerians protested, nothing was heard about it. ICPC also reported that 2.5 billion for Ministry of Agriculture and Water Resources was found in the personal account of a deceased staff of the ministry, who was also discovered to be in possession of landed assets, including 18 buildings, 12 business premises, and 25 plots of land. All these were revealed by Bolaji Awasonoye, who is the ICPC chairman. You ask yourself, what was anybody convicted by the anti-corruption champion of Africa before he left office on this call? No. It was under his regime that a retired army chief was alleged to have houses in Dubai, and the excuse the government gave to cover him up was that this person acquired those properties through saving, and nothing else was done about it. And these are just a tip of an iceberg. We're not talking about the Accountant General of the Federation that made away with almost 89 billion naira, and so many other things that happened to show that, look, the situation we find ourselves, the misery that Nigerians are passing through, got worse between 2015 and 2023. In terms of Nigerian national debt, when Buhari came to power in 2015, our national debt was $10.32 billion. That's our national debt. Our debt, $10.32 billion. As he's leaving office today, May 29, 2023, Buhari is leaving behind a debt of 40.06 billion, roughly put $40 billion. And he was still borrowing even in the last minute, including the $800 million he wanted to borrow from the World Bank. And of course, he has a rubber stamp National Assembly that always allow him to borrow as much as he wants. And all these debts are to be paid by Nigerians, both those who are living today and those yet unborn. And don't forget that under the Obasanjo administration, Nigeria exited the debt trap. Nigeria became debt free, but now we are back into the debt trap, which we extricated ourselves under the Obasanjo administration, because Buhari was a poor manager of Nigeria's economy. And being a poor manager of Nigeria's economy, he brought so much misery to Nigerians. Unemployment was 8% in 2015, and Buhari is living with unemployment at 33%. So many things went wrong under his administration. Nigeria suffered so much under his government. And let nobody deceive any Nigerian that there was any legacy that he left except a legacy of misery that he brought to Nigerians. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. God bless you and yours.